Hey, well, good afternoon, YTPC. This is Dave coming to you again from the paddock here in Southern Maryland. It's let's check the time. It's now 3:20. It's Wednesday, February 7th. It was colder today. That's why I went with the stocking cap today. Nah, I don't like being a shill for these guys. Carhartt. All my This is brand new, so I haven't done it yet, but I've cut this tag off of all my Carhartt stuff. And the reason is I like their stuff, by the way, and it's a little bit expensive, but what isn't in today's world? What I don't like is that the company mandated everybody to come to work had to get the arm candy, and I had a problem with that. So Carhartt and Duluth are my go-to for this kind of stuff, but I got a giant head, and I got a giant head this way, and I got a giant head this way, so it takes giant hats to stay on my head and not get pulled up off my ears. And the Carhartt hat fits that bill. So that's why I'm wearing Carhartt. It's brand new. That's why this is here. I'll probably cut it off. I could spin it around, but be honest about what it is. So guys, as always, the Maryland Meerschaum. I don't know. I can't tell if it's coloring up. You want it to happen right now, right? That's what every Meerschaum owner does is I want it to be done. I want it to color. So I'm the same way. But there it is. Um, it's funny. The guys at Boswell's were like, holy crap, man, you've come a long way. They don't see too many that have come this far. So that felt good. But I want the whole thing done. So we talked about that quite a bit in the store. What's in it today is the same thing as yesterday. Boswell's Best. It's that 1 ounce sampler I chose from buying a pipe up there. Again, remember I'm trying to cut down on the number of blends I do each month. So I think I'm gonna smoke this till it's gone. And then I'll move over and do the cupcake. I think we'll see. But this is my second bowl. It's pretty much down to the dottle, but I'm gonna try to light it up. But sometime during this video, I'm gonna have to put in a third bowl, and that's rare. I don't normally do 3 bowls. Thank you, Greg. I do love this stupid thing, man. Um, I appreciate you giving me permission in your video last night to use some other lighter. I'm not doing this to be to pacify you or placate you. This is a great directional soft light. Man, I love it. Absolutely love it. I don't even let it run out anymore. I fill it every day, so I don't even have an excuse to go to my IMs or my Zippos. But I love this thing, man. It's probably going to shock you. I have 2 things I want to talk about today. One is pretty easy. It's tech oriented. If you're not a tech guy, you can hear, oh shit. But why did I do a 2-part video yesterday? Had nothing to do with the length of the video. I put up plenty of 25, 26-minute videos. It's the iPhone could not handle it. And I was kind of blown away because I'm using the newest iPhone and I have a 1 terabyte drive or storage inside that phone. And it still couldn't handle it. And so you'd say, well, you're using up all your space, and I'm not. I'm using up 300 gigs out of a terabyte. So I have 700 gigs available for space on that phone. But it kept giving me errors. I filmed that thing. I had it all as one video, and I tried to export it. I use iMovie. So I tried to save it to my photos, and it was giving me you don't have enough space error. So I went through and deleted all my old videos out of iMovie, and I deleted a bunch of the parts of them and got it down where I had 300 gig, and it still wouldn't do it. So I had to go figure out, I had to go do the Google and figure out why won't this thing export my video. And it turns out that if you append a bunch of high like 4K videos together, the size of the video isn't the problem. It's when iMovie pulls it apart and starts to process it and make it one so that you can save it to your videos, photos and videos section. Sometimes it blows it up so big, it blows your storage out. And that's exactly what was happening, because I had all those Boswell videos. They were all done in 4K. And it was like 6 minutes of 4K, plus all the videos of me talking to you. And it couldn't handle it. And that's why I broke it. I kind of broke it at the Boswell's end, the meetup end, and got that one undone. And then I did that shorter 7-minute version of me in here because I wanted to show you my paddock. Probably because I'm a show off. And I'm really proud of it. And then the stupid things, so I uploaded them both. I let the first one go a long time, and I said, well, I'll get the second one started. And then YouTube said, well, that's shorter, so it kind of stopped and uploaded part 2 first. So then I had to get up there and make it private and wait for the other one to upload. Yeah, it was total, a little bit of a shit show at the Hale house last night as I was trying to figure out why it wouldn't work, how to break it into 2 pieces, and get it uploaded in the correct way. It's still wrong, by the way. 97, video 97 is ahead of 96. Part 2 is still ahead of number 1, but whatever. I just want to explain to you why I put up what seemed like a fairly regular vid, but in 2 pieces last night. And I'm partially doing it in case you guys are getting processing errors if you use iMovie and you can't figure out why. That's what's happening. All right, it's happened. I fixed up bull number 3 using that kind of that gravity tap light touch method. Thank you, Greg. So the other topic I want to talk about, and I'm kind of targeting this at Mark Welsh Piper, but anybody else who's thinking about coming to the U.S. for any of these pipe shows, I think the message I want to get out there is it's a big damn country, right? And the reason I wanted to bring it up because I just drove across it twice. And I hear when people talk about, well, I'm going to come to the pipe show. I think like Mark's saying, hey, I'm going to come to the Vegas pipe show, but you could use any of them as the example, but I'm just going to use this one. So I'm going to come to the Vegas pipe show. Hey, while I'm over there, I think maybe I'm going to stop by and see Paul Gilson, who's Rochester. And then maybe I can see Johnny Onions, 2 a.m. Piper. He lives on this side of the country, right? Or maybe while in Vegas, I'll see someone like Central Cal Piper, Dave, or J&D's Pipe Dream in New Mexico. So I wrote 6 examples that I just wanted to make sure you understood. So most people come from Europe and will end up landing somewhere in one of the New York airports or the New Jersey airport. They're all the same for this purpose. If you live there, don't freak out on me that they're not. They're, for this purposes, all 3 New York airports are pretty much similar distances. But let's say you go, hey, I want to get up there and see my Rochester friend. New York City. No, I'll do it a different way. I'm sorry. The way I wrote it down was New York City to Albany, the capital region. Let's go. I'm going to go see Potter Piper while I'm here. That drive is 160 miles in at least 3 hours. And that's coming off of Google Maps, no traffic, no issues, not counting airport time, not counting rental car pickup time, not counting stops, nothing. It's 160 miles just to get to Potter Piper from your airport. And you say, well, while I'm up there, I'm going to go see my buddy from Rochester. Albany to Rochester is 230 miles and another 4-hour drive. Again, not counting any issues, and you're going to have issues driving. So, and then you think, hey, you know, while I'm out here, I want to see Johnny Onions. So, I mean, I'm out here. I'll go see him. Johnny Onions let's say we'll call that Roanoke. So Rochester to Roanoke is 600 miles in at least 10 hours. And I promise you it'll take at least that. So, or maybe I want to go see St. David. So New York City to Pittsburgh is 400 miles in 6 hours. So these are all day drives essentially. And rental cars, I think they're expensive everywhere, but in the United States, a rental car that you'll want to trust for these kind of drives is expensive. So, that jalopy that Potter Piper drives, God is on his side, right? A priest can get away with that. You don't want to try that as a mere mortal. So the other side, let's say you're in Vegas, all right? So Las Vegas to say Albuquerque, that's 600 miles. That's at least 10 hours. And that's through the middle of nowhere. So let's say you're in Las Vegas and you want to go see Central Cal. So we'll call that Bakersfield. That's 300 miles the other way in 5 hours. And through a lot of nothing, by the way. So I just wanted to throw those kind of distances and times up. Because if people are thinking about coming in for any of these pipe shows, these are long ways away from anything. And I don't know if that comes across when you look at the map, or if you just kind of look and say, well, gosh, New York City, where I'm flying in, and upstate New York, that's really close, but it's really not. And my God, if you talk to going a couple of guys up in Buffalo, it's even further away. So, or you think, well, New York and Virginia, that's like this far on the map. And it's really not. It's quite a ways, and there's a lot of traffic. You're coming through a lot of towns and cities, even if you stay on the interstates. And these bad boys get bunged up. Most of your time will be spent on I-95, and that is not pretty most of the time. Anyway, I used to make that mistake because I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, which is way over here as far as you can get without getting wet from where I live today. And I made the mistake in looking at all those states on the East Coast and thinking they were super close when they really aren't. And the traffic's so bad, it really does add drive time to these numbers I'm giving you. And then the West states, you drive forever to cross one state. So, I mean, they're bigger than you can imagine. So that's really all I wanted to get to you on that subject, was be careful and plan carefully. And I wouldn't plan on stopping and going to too many places unless you have a couple of weeks, because the pipe show is 3 or 4 days, and so you got to have a week on each side of that if you want to go see some of these folks. That's it. Anyways, it's even hard for me when I look at trying to go to any of the pipe shows. Muletown's the closest to me, and that's an 11-hour drive just to get to the pipe show. So right now I have no plans for a pipe show in 2024. Just to see Corvette Jim is, probably a 12 or 13-hour drive from my house, and only a couple-hour diversion when I head west. So anyway, that's why these meetups, that's how kind of what got me into this video was, going to Boswell's and seeing how far Potter Piper had to drive to get there, and and then your responses have been, the number of comments I've gotten on those 2 videos is unbelievable. Most people are like, God, I wish I could have been there, or I wish I could do that, or I wish I could have the meetup, because it does take our relationship to the next level. You can only get so far on videos and VRs and comments. I get that. And I just thought, sometimes the desire to do such things might override our desire to do the planning. And it's easy to get burned. It's easy to wreck the trip. And it works in reverse, by the way. So I'm going to tell you a story. Of dragging my entire family for 2 weeks to our England, Scotland, Ireland 2-weeker, right? And we planned it. We got out the maps. We planned the distances. I mean, we did it right. So wrong. So we landed in Heathrow. We took a red-eye landing in Heathrow, slept the first day, And then the next day we got up, rented our car. By the way, right-hand drive, left-hand traffic with a stick shift. That was interesting. But we had to drive from London, England to Edinburgh, Scotland for our first night in a hotel room, once we got out of the airport. And everybody, all the locals, like, what are you out of your mind? And I think it's like 400 miles. I mean, it's in the United States, it's nothing. But over there, you can't plan England miles like you plan US miles. That was a huge lesson for me. That was our second worst mistake. I actually have a worse mistake to tell you about. So we spent almost, several days in Scotland, and that was the trip. We spent the night in castles, which really aren't a whole lot more expensive than hotels, by the way, and manor houses. And we were in a manor house in Lockerbie, Scotland, and we got to know the guy who owned the place, and he was the 17th Earl. He was the 17th generation, and they had all 16 priors in their formal dining room. Their portraits are on the wall, so it was a fantastic stay. But when we got ready to leave, he goes, "Where are you going tonight?" And we said, "Well," and we're in Lockerbie, Scotland, and we were headed for the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland, which again isn't that far to the ferry terminal, and then the ferry ride, and then what I thought was going to be a skip across Ireland. They thought we were absolutely insane. We looked like such stupid Americans. And so we drove all the way across Scotland. By a miracle, we got a spot on the Cross the Irish Sea ferry. And then we docked in Dublin, and we had to drive from Dublin to Cliffs of Moher. All of that in one day. It was probably an 18-hour day. My kids were not happy with me. So it works both ways, guys. I just would hate for someone to plan poorly and kind of ruin a week or 2 week long trip when you got to spend almost all of it in an airplane or a car. And the flight from New York to Las Vegas is probably about a 5-hour flight, maybe a little more depending on how the winds are handling it. So yeah, just these distances sometimes don't make sense for those who don't live here. So guys, that's it. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to put this video together. I'm going to get up and be done with it and not have some giant long video tonight. I hope you had a good Wednesday, and we will talk again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.